It's official. Josh Sweat, no longer an Eagle. And what a ride it has been. And what a final impact he left, Zach Berman, as he made a strong case for Super Bowl MVP. 2.5
Yeah.
sacks in the Super Bowl, a career high for him in a single game. And now, after a impressive career with the Eagles, he's gone.
Yeah, and it was an impressive career with the Eagles, and he's been waiting to hit the open market. He earned this is his first time hitting the open market. He earned the right to get this type of deal. And look, I see Josh Sweat as exactly what you want from an edge rusher in terms of the frame.
Mm.
He can play 3 downs. Like, he's really improved against the run. He hasn't had the top of the league type performance, but he's been fairly consistent in that he's, an 8 sack, 7.5 sack guy. The high water mark was 11 sacks, but he can get to the quarterback. He can play the run. For as much as the injury tag has been attached to his name, he's been relatively durable. Now his production has waned, but he hasn't missed a lot of games. So if you know how to manage him, he's still a good age profile. I still think Josh Sweat's a good player in the league.
He turns 28 later this month. You mentioned the injury thing that has been
Yep.
put on him. That when he came out from Florida State, everybody was worried about that knee, and people still will tell you that they're worried about it.
Yeah.
However, he hasn't really missed a lot
No.
of time.
Nope. No, he's been a 16, 17 game a
Yes.
year player throughout his Eagles career. The injuries that he's had with the Eagles, like, freak injury, right? Internal bleeding at one point in the playoffs, not the type of thing that's
Yeah.
related to the knee. And so yeah, he really pushes back on the knee injury attachment to him that's kind of followed his name since a freak injury in high school. That was a concern coming out of college, but in his time here with the Eagles, so 7 years with the Eagles, I haven't seen that to be an issue in terms of making it to Sunday.
I think if you talk about him as where he stands as an edge rusher across the league, I think this is probably a fair ranking over the past 4 years combined. He's 17th in sacks among edge rushers. Like, that's about right. You're getting a guy who is good enough to be your number one edge rusher, and it would be fantastic if he's your number two. He's very good at getting after the quarterback. Now, one of the downsides that people will tell you about Josh Sweat from his time with the Eagles is there has been a little bit of
Yeah.
a second half drop off in a couple seasons. That happened in a big way in 2023. And it happened again last year until the Super Bowl
Sure.
when he played like the most snaps he had played the second half of the season and had his best game of his career.
Yeah, I do think 2 years ago the snap. I think he was affected by the snaps, and he was playing too many. And I think you do need to know how to manage him
I think for his
throughout
new
the week.
team, that will be something very important. He
Yeah.
needs to be playing really no more than 60% of the snaps.
Yes, but yeah, you're right about the way he played in the Super Bowl, and I would say in the playoffs. I think he did not show signs of wearing down. He can beat you different ways. He has the athleticism to beat you as like a speed rusher around the edge. But if you watch like the mic'd up clip from the Super Bowl, he's talking about the inside, the power to the inside,
Yeah.
and he can do that. I mean, if I at the top of this, I spoke about his frame. You can't make. I mean, I guess Myles Garrett, but like that's the exact, tall, long, strong, 6'5", 250, 260. Like that's kind of what you want in an edge rusher.
And if you just talk about his development over the past 7 seasons with the Eagles, he has gone from being like completely raw to a very good young pass rusher to becoming sort of an all around player. He's gotten much better against the run, as you said. He's gotten better going inside, and so this is a fully formed player at this point in his career. And listen, nobody has chronicled Josh Sweat's
Yeah.
career during those 7 years more than you, or at least more lovingly than you, Zach. What are his new fans getting in Josh Sweat the person?
Yeah, well, I would say this. He's bright. He's very bright. He's not the I say this respectfully. I don't think you're signing him to be like the veteran in the room. I don't think that's where he's I don't want to say he's quiet, but he's kind of he's bright in a quiet way. He's not going to be the guy who is like the big talker, the big leader in the room, but he won't cause trouble. number one. And
He won't bother nobody.
and I think too that he cares about his craft. He cares about football. Yeah. Now he is fully formed. Like I think that's the thing. You're not getting someone who's going to be so much better in their third contract, from my perspective,
Mhm.
than the second contract or the first contract. But I still think you're getting someone who's a productive football player.
Great laugh from Josh Sweat.
He'll laugh a lot, right? You
He
ask
will
him a
laugh a lot,
question,
and
he
he can
will
build a
laugh a lot.
computer.
And he can build a computer from scratch with his bare hands. It's fascinating the way he describes it. I wrote a story about it in the playoffs in the 2022 season. Yeah, he and it's an interest of his, and he has a lot of different interests. Like I said, he's a bright guy. He was near the top of his class, I believe, in high school. Same thing at Florida State. Was in his his parents came to visit him in Tallahassee, and he was in his room building a computer from scratch, ordering all the parts.
Mm.
He sent me photos of this. So I've said it a few times, a bright guy, but again, I don't think you're signing him to be like the face of your defense. I think you're signing him to be a part of your defense.
All right. Well, for all the new Josh Sweat fans, here's one last thing that you need to know.